I was just doing some journaling. I needed to get some things off my chest, and I wanted chest off my chest, and I wanted to do it in a manner that it may help somebody else. So I talk a lot about personal things because I don't, not me. There's a purpose for our pain, and God He doesn't let things, He doesn't let our pain go to waste, and I don't want to let this personal matter go to waste, but then it could help somebody. So basically, long story short is I have a son who's 15 years old. Well, I have 3 teenagers. One 17-year-old boy, and I have a 15-year-old son and a 14-year-old daughter. And all 3 of them are in a place, or were in a place called Sunshine Acres. There's a place where children go. It's a special place, basically. It really, really is. It's 100 and some odd acres out in a city here in the valley. And the children go there while their parents try to get their lives together. And it's a super nice place. It's not like an orphanage, although if you look it up, it says that it's an orphanage. But there's these huge homes, and they have their own rooms, and it's just such a blessing, right? And Jaden, my 15-year-old, he got kicked out of there. Long story short, when I was at the Dream Center, he came and he stayed 10 days at the Dream Center with us. He stayed 10 days with us at the Dream Center. And while he was there, he went to Dream City Church. He gave his heart to the Lord, and he repented, and he was walking in that way. And about 3 or 4 months into being at Sunshine Acres, part of his testimony and what God had been doing in his life and what God had been doing in my life, the Lord used to get his brother and sister away from their mother at the time, who was actively using, and the 2 other children were there with their mom, and they ended up leaving and going to Sunshine Acres. And part of that was what God had been doing in Jaden's life. When his brother and his sister came back or decided to go to the Acres, Jaden got involved with some people and made some bad choices, and his heart changed. So what he thought was a blessing being in that place, and he said it was now a curse. He felt like he was in prison instead of being in a place where he could practice, use the things that God was doing in his life and continue healing. He looked at it as he was in prison. So he started smoking weed and vaping and hanging out with this female and all this kind of funkiness, and ended up getting, asked to leave. The word was dismissed from the program. So from there, Jaden had been saying prior to his dismissal that he's not like me. He's not like me. He's not going to be like me. But he's already using substances to cope with the pain that he's having instead of dealing with it. He is trying to self-medicate, trying to give something that he can't see, which is his pain, which is very real, and trying to subsidize it with something he can see, which is marijuana, instead of giving it to that which we can't see, which is God, who is also very real, who is the only person that can heal us from those things. He doesn't see the point to why he should write things down or try to get them out of his heart and put them on paper. So he's very adamant that he's not like me. He's not going to be a drug addict. He's not going to do this, but he's already making those decisions and those choices at the same age as I did. However, I made those choices in a place in Alaska. Okay, not in a big city like this. Way, way different scenario. What took me 30 years to do, he could do here in 5. You know what I'm saying? So when he was asked to leave at Sunshine Acres, the only place that I could find for him was Oasis Behavioral Health, which is the place that I went to get sober. I actually went to detox there 4 times. And the 4th time is when I went to the Dream Center. And that was I was led to go there by God, and I listened. And then I started listening to those voices around me that were godly. Jaden, no. And he's so rebellious. So I just thought I was like poetic, if you will, or it made a lot of sense that God made a way for him to go to the Oasis. And when he got out of there, I had no place for him to go. So DCS got involved. And because he doesn't meet the criteria to stay at Oasis, for those who don't know, Oasis is a behavioral health place that also does drug detox, and it goes there for children and men and women who are mentally unstable. They go there for medication, but more importantly, they go there for drug detox. A lot of times those go hand in hand. Jaden doesn't meet the criteria to go there, so he was there for about 2 weeks, and then they discharged him. But they had no place to put him, so they put him in DCS custody. In DCS custody, basically, it's a dependency case now, because his mom's out there running the streets, but who's homeless. I'm in transitional living where they don't take under 8 or minor children, and I'm in the process of. God's got me in the process of sanctification, getting all the stuff that's not fit for the kingdom out of me, all the lethargy, all the laziness, all the pride, all the things inside that aren't supposed to be there. That's not, wood, hay, and stubble, if you will. And that's what Jaden needs. He needs a strong male role model to follow. That's what he needs. And right now but he has to choose that. So right now he's in this place. He's in a group home basically, and he's just so rebellious. He just doesn't get it, man. And the conversations we have are just like, I want my phone. 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 Dad, when I turn 18, you're going to continue this way. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I was like, well, that's your choice. And I'm not going to give you something that's going to drive you further away from God. So I read to him Matthew 25, where it talks about Jesus separating the goats from the sheep. I read that to him at Oasis on one of the visit days I went in there with him. And I asked him a question. I said, Jaden, if God's way is the right way, which way have you been going this whole time to get you kicked out of the acres? He said, left. And I said, what does this say right here? So before I even read the scripture to him, I asked him these questions. And then I read the scripture to him. And I was like, so what does that tell you, man? Left going to hell, bro. Left goes to hell. Right goes to heaven. And you just said you've been going left. So what are you talking about? Like, you're marching the wrong way, dude. And as far as I can do anything about it, I will. I'm not going to just let you willy-nilly walk yourself into the hell. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do exactly what God did for me. He's going to put up roadblocks. He's going to try to stop you from going that way. And then he's going to make it real difficult if you continue to go that way. If his plan for you and your life is that important, then he's going to make sure that you go the right way. And until those reins are being given over to you to go that way yourself, I'm going to make it extremely difficult. So no, I'm not going to give you your phone. I'm not going to give you any tools that are going to separate you further from God. I'm just not going to do it. And he wants me to give in. So I told him 6 months. You give me 6 months to clean your ways. You give me 6 months of going to schools. You give me 6 months of reading the Bible. You give me 6 months of journaling entry, and you make an effort, and we'll talk. But I ain't trying to do none of that. That's what he says to me. So we went from 6 months to 4 months, 4 months to 3 months, 3 months to 2 months and 11 days. That's it. And he's not trying to do that either. So our conversations are not productive. He's just very adamant that he still says, I'm not going to be a drug addict. He's saying I am manifesting his future over him by saying that he's going to end up like me. Whoa, dude, you're making the same choices that I made for the same reasons I made them. And I only stopped doing those things because I listened to God, and I started writing these things down and expressing them to him and giving them to him, giving the unseen God the unseen pain so he could heal it instead of trying to fix it with things in the physical world. I mean, come on, dude. I'm not manifesting your future over you, son. I'm telling you what you're going to do if you continue down this road. But more importantly, I'm showing you what stops it. And you are choosing not to do it. That is like beyond rebellious to me. That is like so, like it doesn't compute with me. It doesn't compute with me because I didn't see the negative consequences of my actions. My negative consequences affected me and affected others around me. However, I didn't grow up with those things. Jaden unfortunately saw them and it affected him. But at the same time, he knows it because he lived it. It wasn't somebody speaking to him that these things may happen. It was, yeah, my parents were sick on dope and I didn't have a Christmas because, I had a Christmas, but I didn't get a lot of presents because they were on drugs. However, and they were sick on Christmas Day because they went without the drugs so they could get us the little presents they gave us. That kind of stuff. You know what I mean? I didn't have to deal with that. I heard about it, but I didn't deal with negative consequences. They were just words to me. Philip, or don't, you shouldn't do this. This may happen. They were just words. There was no actual living it. Jaden, unfortunately, lived it and he heard it. But I will say this: throughout the whole time of me doing drugs, the Lord was still working on me, and He was taking things from me, and He was giving me a heavy, heavy conviction. And I would tell them, listen, Jaden, Raiden, Michaela, listen, this is not the way to be. There's a better way. I'm going to show you that way. I will let you down, but God never will. Put your trust and faith in Him. I would say these truths to them. I wasn't living them, but I would speak these truths to them all the time. And then I would go to detox. I'd come back. I'd do good for a little bit, very few little bit at the time because Mom was getting high too. And then I would start using it again. So... And I guess the finality of it is after the phone conversation with Jaden, 3 hours yesterday, an hour and 8 minutes and 9 minutes today. Today was like an hour he was just saying things to upset me, trying to upset me. And, finally it did end in a way like it wasn't necessarily bad, but it wasn't very loving the way the phone conversation ended. I said, God bless you, I love you, goodbye. But I also threw in the caveat, I've been done with this conversation over 40 minutes ago, man. I don't want to do any of this anymore. But then, right after the phone hung up, my daughter called me. And it was a completely different conversation. It was like I was talking to two completely different people, which I was, obviously, brother and sister. However, it was just the whole aura of the conversation, the whole sensation of the conversation. There was so much love in the conversation between me and Michaela, and I felt so much, it's just a whole different, I can't explain it besides, like, it just blows my mind, man. Because she gets it, she's still at the Acres, she's still working on things. But she's in the process. She's reading, she's writing, and I was so proud of her because this morning they came to her and said, "Hey, Michaela," she rides horses over there at the Sunshine Acres. She does barrel rolling or barrel, whatever, riding the barrel horses, do the figure eights, and they invited her to this rodeo show and to be in a competition last minute. Michaela doesn't usually do things like that. It's out of her character. But she did. And she went with it. And she did so well. It was so good. She said, Dad, the horse I drove was a roping horse. It wasn't a barrel horse. So the one I ride here at the Acres knows the patterns. So this time she had to force this horse to do the patterns. It didn't know them. So she didn't do like super well on her time. But she did it, man. She did it. Out of her comfort zone, she did it. And I was so proud of her. And then I got Jaden talking on the phone, cussing at me, how he effing hates school. So I was just like, well, it's like night and day. And I guess that just shows like how much further I need to go to be able to speak with love for everything. I mean, I do speak with love with Jaden. However, it's just very frustrating. It's just very frustrating Because I know deep down, not even deep down, I know surface level that, a lot of it falls on me. A lot of it falls on me. And I've told this to Jaden before. I said to him, at some point in time in our lives, the things that cause us to be a certain place, a certain way, that's not the way I said it. The better way was things that happen to us in our life that aren't our fault. If we don't deal with those things and we hold on to those hurts and those things that give us strength in a negative sense, they do become our own. So what I meant by that is my choices caused anger in Jaden's heart. My choices caused pain in Jaden's life. So those things that he uses marijuana for, he says now it's because it's easier to deal with the smoking the pot than it is to deal with the anger or deal with the hurt. And some of that has to fall on my shoulders as my choices as his dad. But for him to realize that and know that it's an issue and then choose to escape and then to deal with it at some point in time, that becomes his own. He owns that now. Granted, the root issue is something that might have already been there before time. However, it became manifest because of my poor choices. But now he's holding on to that and he has claimed that as his own. And now he's getting fuel from it. It's become his strength instead of a weakness. And I know because that's exactly what happened to me. My anger, my pain became a strength and I was unwilling to let go because it fueled me. But at the same time, there was something else in me. I used to say that I could be, this boat rolls on love and hate, is what I used to say. For real, because I could rock out to some music and listen to some Pantera, some Sepultura, some and work out real hard, and then put on some James Blunt. Goodbye, my lover, goodbye, my friend, and then work out just as hard, if not even more. So I knew that there was two things, two sides of the coin in my own life. And, but I didn't realize that until I was in my late 20s, mid 20s. And I'm trying to get Jaden to realize that that's how it is right now with him. And to choose life because he's not grown up in Alaska. He's growing up in the Phoenix. But in everything that is anything that's not of God is this close away, this far. A hand's grab away. A hand's grab away. I didn't grow up that way. By the grace of God. Otherwise, this conversation would not be probably having right now. I'd probably be dead. So anyways, I just want to get this stuff off my chest. As an encouragement, I guess, because I know there's other people out there probably struggling, trying to reach their children or trying to reach their own selves. They're trying to reach them. I know that God's trying to reach you too. We need to deal with our pains. We need to deal with our hurts. We need to get those things out of us. And the way that the Lord explained it to me is the things that are unseen, that are very real, give them to the unseen God. The Bible says that God is the invisible God. At the same time, he's very real. He's a spirit and he's searching for those that will worship in spirit and truth. So what that consists of is I can't see your pain, you can't see mine. However, we both know it's very real. So we give those things that are unseen to the unseen. He does not want us to hurt, but it's our actions and our sinfulness that separates us from us that causes that pain and that hurt. And the only proper way to heal it is to give it to him. So, yeah, I hope this may help somebody. I hope so. It's helping me. So, God bless you.